really surreal. I was on the ground floor forming the Hall of Fame from 1988 to 1990. I inducted the first class in 1990. Little did I ever believe something like that. I looked the other day. There's 262 people now in the Hall of Fame, and 175 of them I either worked with or had a close association with. And I love Missouri history, and now I'm happy to be a part of it.
Bob, I mean, as you've said, and your career speaks for itself, you obviously poured a lot into this school to be a part of that history now, to where you've been researching so much of it. What does that mean to you?
It's cool. A lot of the digging around I did, back in when I worked here from 80 to 2000, has come back to help me in what I'm doing now. I get questions from the staff all the time about something that happened in the past, and I know where to go look for it. Missouri's got a great history. Unfortunately, for a lot of years, we didn't tell anybody about it, and I've been a firm believer that if you lose your history, it's gone, and we can't let that happen. So that's what I'm trying to do now. My role was a little different back, when I was here before full time, but this is really a humbling honor, and it's really cool.
What would you say makes Mizzou history unique from everybody else?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I think that our fans haven't given us enough credit. I think sometimes they think the grass is greener somewhere else. When actually, if they look around, it's pretty green right here. We've had great moments in every sport. Football in the '60s. We were the only school in the country that never lost more than 3 games in the season that decade. In the '70s, we had upsets unlike anything that you see today. Al Anafrio's teams beat 14 ranked teams, and he couldn't beat Kansas, and he lost his job. I mean, that's kind of weird. And I was here during the dark years, but to see it come back. Luckily, during the dark years in football, we were great in basketball, so that kept us afloat. I got to work with lots of great people, and Norm Stewart. I was at 650 something games that he coached. Gene Carter, who I miss every day, great baseball coach. Those associations and with so many student athletes mean everything to me. It's a real honor to me to go into the hall with Brock Levo because he was one of my favorite players when I worked with him. And I've known Sophie Cunningham since she was a preschooler. I even was the official scorer at a lot of her basketball games at Columbia Catholic School. So, and I worked for Mike Alden, so I've got association with a lot of people in this class, and that's really cool too. No, I never attributed it. When I left here in 2000, I never dreamed I'd even come to Beach. Now I've been back almost 5 years, and I love what I'm doing. And no, I never thought this would happen. It's really amazing. But it kind of affirms that I achieved, or I continued the legacy of my mentor, Bill Callahan, who was in the Hall of Fame. He taught me so much during the 5 years I worked for him. And I tried to pass along those ideals of integrity, access, relationships, providing accurate information. and to help tutor the next generation of communicators. I look at so many of the students that work for me, and the careers they've had since then is super gratifying. I mean, people really successful in all different walks of life, whether it be media, ESPN, or an athletic director, assistant commissioner of a conference. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Those things mean a lot to me. Okay, well, in 1988, we started looking ahead to 1990, which was the 100th year of Mizzou. And Dick Tamburo, who was the athletic director then, started looking at some special things that maybe we could do to make 1990 more special. And it was important because we weren't winning in football in those days. You know? So one of the things he wanted to do was to start a Hall of Fame. And he charged me with researching Halls of Fame in other schools, put together bylaws and a framework for selection. I'll never forget that first year in 1990, Don Farrell nominated 106 people. And I had to write the bios on all 106. And most of them played here from like, 1900 to 1930. So that wasn't an easy task. Now, in retrospect, that paid off because that helps me today, with what I learned. And in those early years, the first 2 years, we inducted 20 people each year because we had a head start. But I'm really glad we did it. I'm really glad we did it. And, we probably met some people along the way, but it's a pretty representative group of the best and brightest in the city. I think I'm going to talk about this during the sermon. Two big moments in football in 1997. One was the 51-50 overtime win at Oklahoma State. And I remember Brock Alito practically tackling me after the game with a big bear hug. And then the next week we played at Colorado. We got a little accident right at Colorado. We're playing out there in Boulder. We absolutely dominated. We held the ball for 40 minutes. We were 20. And that was the game that guaranteed we had a win for the first time since 1980. I stood there on the sidelines the last 3 minutes of the season. It was a long road to get over that. Now, you know what happened next week? Next week. But no, those two games were huge to get us back, and they got us into a bowl game. They got us back on track. The other basketball game that really means a lot to me. A lot of reasons. But the last game in 1994 against Nebraska here, we completed a 14-0 run. It was my oldest son's first birthday. And during the timeout late in the game, I looked up at the scoreboard and it said, Bob Brendel is number 1 at solo time. That was a pretty cool one.
You talked briefly about getting to work with Norm Stewart. Can you talk a little bit more about what that was like in your time?
Oh, man, I could tell Norm stories until the cows come home. The very first, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'll say it anyway, and you guys can edit it out. So, the first year I worked here, 1980-81, we played in an early season tournament in Atlanta, Georgia, and they had a banquet for the teams the night before, and Norm introduced all the players and all the staff, and I was the last guy. and I was new. And he said, "This is Bob Brendel. He's our SID. You guys know what that stands for, don't you? Son of a bitch in disguise." So I knew right then and there that I was going to have to work really hard to please Norm. But yeah, working with him was a treat, and it was a curse at times. I mean, he was hard to work with, but if you knew how to approach him, man. If you knew how to read between the lines and know what he was really saying, he was pretty cool. The local media probably didn't see it as much because they had to deal with him every day, and that was what drove him nuts. But when the national media came in and caught him, he charmed the pants off. They all thought he was the greatest guy ever. But Norm was he's one of a kind. One of a kind. It's meant a lot. When I left, I never wanted to be here. I carved out a successful career in a different walk of life. And when I retired in 2020, I was looking just for something to do. So I called Nick Jost, who at the time was Dave Matter, and I knew him for 30-something years, and I said, "Hey, Nick, is there any help you need over there?" I mean, actually, I was just thinking about volunteering, taking stats, whatever. And he said, "Oh, I've got a job for you." And he said, "We need our archives cleaned up and organized so that people can find stuff." I said, "Sure, I can do that." So I talked to my wife. I said, "This is great, but how long did this last? 6 weeks, Well, no, I've been at it for almost 5 years, and I've made a lot of progress, but I'm not even close to that. So, no, it's really special. I love being back in the press box on Saturdays. It's pretty cool. I guess it really is. I guess it proves you can.
Thank you, Bob.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you all.